Yo! How you doing?
Yo, chizTV!
You caught me. Hey, Project Fam. All right, we're going to have another automotive topic today. And it is not going to be on this car yet. What I'm going to do is do rear brakes on the Honda Accord and show you how to do that. So here we go. This is the Honda. I just hope the weather holds out. I did front brakes already not too long ago. And a little overcast today. I'm going to do it outside, so let's hope it doesn't rain.
So although I said I was going to show you how to do rear brakes on a Honda Accord, let me break this down to you. Rear brakes, front brakes are so easy to do. I'm not saying that you all should do your brakes, but you should know when to take your car to a real mechanic and when to take your car to a parts changer. Now let me define the two for you. A parts changer is I don't even want to call it a mechanic, is an automotive person who can change parts on a car. They can fix you a tire. Just take the tire off, put the tire back on. They can give you new tires. You buy new tires, you take the tire off, you put it on. If you needed an exhaust system, which we don't need today, they take it off, put it back on. No diagnosing involved. All right. A mechanic is someone where you bring your car in and say, I have a problem. My car is dripping. Can you fix it? And they will diagnose it. Now, you will spend more money getting the services of a mechanic than a parts changer, but you have to know where to spend the money. Now, when it comes to doing brakes, whether that's front brakes or rear brakes, let me tell you how simple it is. You jack the car up. You take off the tire, which may be 5 lug nuts. After you take off the tire, you take off 2 screws that hold your caliper on to your rotor. Then you take off your pads. You put your new pads back on. You put those 2 new screws back in. You put your tire on. You jack your car down. You're done. So again, I'm not saying that you all should do your own brakes. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to spend money to an automotive repair person, make sure you know your value. Like, who can do brakes? I don't know. Almost anyone can do brakes, including myself. You could do brakes. It's very simple. So there's no need to go to a shop where you're going to spend $100 an hour for someone to charge you an hour labor to do brakes when it really takes 15 minutes per wheel. Yeah. So let's get back into it. We were talking about mechanics, how there are part changes versus mechanics, and nothing against mechanics out there, automotive technicians. I think you do a great job. This stuff's not easy, and sometimes you run into problems as you take on these projects, but you should know your value and you should know where to take certain things. I am not taking my car to the dealership to get brakes done. I'm just not going to do it. I am also not going to wait until I need brakes, like until it starts squeaking really, really badly, where I'm starting to do more damage than good, and it's going to cost me more money. So there's a lot of things that I can talk to you about, but for this video only, I'm just going to talk about the importance of knowing where to go for certain things. I don't need to go to the dealership to get new tires. I can get tires from a tire store. I'm not going to name any tire stores. I don't need to go to the dealership to get a car inspection. My annual state inspection does not need to happen at the dealership. So when it comes to things like oil changes, I get oil changes from the car wash. I've got a couple of spots that will wash my car and change my oil for $40. Why am I getting on my back and changing oil? Because I usually spend more money when I change oil myself anyway. But I digress. All right, let's speed through some of this video.
Whew, just a quick check-in. So everything so far is going according to plan. 5 lug nuts come off, and then 2 caliper bolts, and that's it. So I'm on my way to take the pads back to AutoZone to pick up my lifetime replacements. That's right, I don't pay for pads. As long as I take off the pads before they cause damage to the rotor, I have free lifetime pads. Awesome thing. So I just went to AutoZone, and they didn't have my little pads in stock. So I'm going to a different location, about a 20-minute ride, and I'm chasing down my free pads. I got everything I need. Got my grease, they keep the box. Come down here. Where they working on it. Yo! How you doing?
Yo, chizTV.
You caught me. Alright, brother, take it easy.
Alright.
I don't think I'll ever get used to that. All right, so I got my parts. Let's head back and finish this car. All right, so we made it back, and I'm just lining up the parts. Just getting everything ready to get back onto the core. Everything looks really good. I can definitely tell you that I got my money's worth out of those pads that we took off. There's a sensor on your rear pads, and when your brakes squeak, that's the wear sensor telling you it's time to change your pads. But I did not hear it because my mechanic, yes, not my parts changer, my mechanic, I know that because of the price of the bill that he gave me. My mechanic told me it was time to change my rear brakes, and he offered me a deal of, I don't know, a few $100, and he can get it done. Like I said, the only thing I paid today was labor. The actual part was free because I took them back to AutoZone because I have I think lifetime pads. Those are Duralast Gold, and they seem to work pretty well. So now what I'll do is I'll size the pads back up. You can see they only go on one way. There's a wear sensor that goes toward the inside of the car. Remember I told you a little sensor that tells you when it's time to change your pads. You put both pads on. If you noticed, I laid everything out on my little yellow tray, so I know exactly which way it goes back on. And since those are premium pads, I don't have to spray them with any type of anti-squeal device. And that piston, so as you step on the brake, that piston that you saw me screwing in pushes the pad into the rotor, and the friction between the pad and the rotor is what stops the car. In order to put the new pads on, which have more meat on them, I had to push in the piston. That's actually a screw piston, so there I am using Fred Flintstone tools to, look at that serious face, to push the piston in. I'm just using pliers. There is a $14 tool that I could have purchased, but I didn't, and I didn't feel like going to the store, so I just took my time with the tools that I had and made it work. All right, let's get into the meat of the matter. So the price of those pads new are $63, but they have a lifetime warranty. Those were the Duralast Gold Ceramic. So every time the pads get low, I take them off, I take them into the store, and I come back with some new pads. I've probably swapped them at least 3 times already. So again, it's just labor, and with the right tools. And I think it takes more time for me to jack the car up and get it steady on stands, safety first, than the actual time it takes to do the job. So here I am putting on the other side, making faces, sitting on the ground. Hope my dad doesn't see me sitting on the ground. And time to put the tire back on. So remember when we started, I said in order to change the brakes, you have to take the tire off, which has 5. Look at I need some moisturizer. I should be wearing gloves, really. But you have to take the tire off, and the tire has 5 lug nuts. And once you get the tire off, there are 2 bolts that hold the caliper on. And then once you take those 2 bolts off, you take the caliper off and you take the pads off. That is it. Very simple. So I hope you learned anything. And now when you take your car into the shop and your mechanic or parts changer, whoever's going to do it, tells you that it's going to cost, $300 to change pads front and rear. Now you know how much money they're making. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, now you know how much profit they're making. Just so you could be educated. It's one thing to spend the money. It's another thing just to give money away. Like if I'm going to pay someone for a job and I'm going to quote unquote overpay, I want to know I'm overpaying. And after you put the tires back on, I actually have a special tool to torque my wheels just to make sure they're all tight. And since I only took off the rear, I really don't have to check the lug nuts in front, but I know I'm going to do it anyway because that's what I do. And that is the whole job. It doesn't take that much. That was just the rear. And if I had to change the front pads, same process, same procedure, same bolts. And usually you change the front pads at least twice as fast as you do the rear, because when you step on the brake, all the weight goes to the front of the car. Hence, your front pads are much larger than your rear pads. So maybe I'll change my rear pads once and my front pads maybe twice or 3 times. And you start the car, and it's very important to step on the brake. I didn't open the system, so I'm not bleeding, but yet the brake fit pedal feels really good. Done deal. Hey, please share this video and subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.